one more thing about the Bruins here, because we've done the offsides and the clearly punting on it. And that was an eventful night Saturday night. Well, Sunday night, they had another eventful game. Now they lost 7-2. They were up 1-0, 19 seconds into the game. But the other 59 and a half minutes, they were outscored 7-1. Thank God the Kings did not have an off day. They came in here and they blew the Bruins out. But what we almost saw in the middle of the game was something I've only seen once in my lifetime. So Hustadinov, I believe it was, is going hard to the net, and then he gets pushed around by Darcy Kuemper, the Kings goalie. And he's trying to take some extra shots at him. And so, a scuffle ensues. And Jeremy Swayman, Bulldog, the Bruins goalie, goes out to the red line. And we almost had something I have not seen in the NHL in 15 years.
Now Swayman calling Kuemper out to the red line. They're going to go. Look at this. Kuemper against Swayman. The referee grabs Swayman. The linesman grabs Kuemper. They won't let it happen.
That is a disgrace. That is an absolute disgrace to the NHL, those referees stepping in. That is horrible. That's so awful for our game and our sport. And someone put it best, I think it was Ty Anderson, put it best. He said, you know what the NHL did there? They could have had the number one play on SportsCenter. Maryland hit a buzzer beater in the Sweet 16, or to go to the Sweet 16. That would have been pretty big too. But they had a chance to be like one of the highlights of the night, the NHL. And instead, with those refs stepping in, they said, no, we're okay with everything just being buried on ESPN+. That's what we're fine with. And Brickley had the best point. He said, yeah, I know the league's, trying to step in and stop these, but I don't think anyone was going to the concourse for popcorn when Jeremy Swayman was calling out Darcy Kuemper to the red line. And I don't think Kuemper wanted to fight because I think he's a pussy. But the biggest pussy is that linesman for stepping in. Like, are you kidding? Sunday night, Bruins Kings, like the game's already going to get out of hand at that point. Like, come on, man, let that happen. That is so bullshit for this NHL. Like, I get that you want to be more skilled and more speed. Like, that's great. And the game is as skilled as it's ever been. But there's room for a goalie fight if something like that happens. And to step in, like that's what sucks about today's NHL. And that's why, even though I love the sport, that's why this league is not going to overtake the NBA, even when the NBA is really hurting and the NHL is doing well. Because of shit like that. Who doesn't want to see that? Anyway, maybe the Bruins teammates don't want to see that. And maybe Bruins teammates have gotten a little sick of Jeremy Swayman. He obviously had the big holdout in the offseason and was dragging that on. He was the reason that he was the only reason that he didn't have a preseason and was really slow out of the gates, was pretty kind of bad out of the gates, and is once again bad in these last 6 games. The 6-game losing streak, I should say, he's been horrible. It's, by the way, the 12th time this season. I wanted to read the stat real quick. 12th time this season, the Bruins have allowed at least 6 goals in a game, most since 2007. But Jeremy Swayman's last 4 starts, 0-4-0, so all 4 losses in regulation, 815 save percentage, 6 is his goals against average, 88 saves on 108 shots. No other starting goalie in the league has worse stats over that same stretch. He's been putrid lately. And, goalies are a weird breed, right? They're a bit standoffish. But I think the Bruins were really rubbed the wrong way with how he handled this in the offseason. We know Brad Marchand was kind of calling him out without calling him out by saying, I'm not going to talk about my contract in the media. That's not something we do here. That's not something I want to do. So without saying Jeremy Swayman's name, he called out Jeremy Swayman. And then Swayman almost has this galvanizing moment last night where he's going to stand up for his teammate, right? He's going to fight the other team's goalie because, that's what happens. Goalies fight goalies. And the refs step in. But then they asked Nikita Zadorov, the media asked Nikita Zadorov after the game, a guy who has actually shown some leadership skills for the Bruins and has been able to answer the bell whenever he's been called upon in terms of the physical aspect of the game. And here's what Nikita Zadorov had to say about that situation.
Do you guys appreciate that Jeremy stuck up for Lucini?
Is that what it is?
Look like it.
Okay. I don't know. No comment.
They hate this guy. I don't know. Is that what it was? I don't know. No comment. Like, they don't even like the guy. And I think, you can't pin this season on any one player. But Jeremy Swayman has a big hand in this. There was drama around this season from the very beginning. From late June with the Olmark trade all the way up through October when they get the deal done with Swayman. He's very public about it. He's in the media all the time. He's talking about this Maine business school stuff. And even when he's supposedly standing up for his teammates, the actual leaders in the locker room are like, really? Is that what that was? Could have fooled me. That shows that there's clear friction in that locker room. Are you kidding me? And hockey players are the most non-dramatic of any, they're not throwing their teammates under the bus. They're bland in their answers. They're trying not to give anything away. And here's Nikita Zadorov being like, that's what you call it? Huh. And Nikita Zadorov is probably going to be a guy who's wearing an A next year from what we've seen so far this season and how the guys kind of rally around him. He's not the best player on the team, don't get me wrong. But maybe this whole Bulldog Swayman thing is just bullshit. It's all bullshit. Because the only guy who's been kind of called out by any of his Bruins teammates this year has been Jeremy Swayman. And it's happened a couple of times. Other than the fake Rich Keefe report about, Pasternak and Marchand, everything else in the media and what players have said in the locker room has been about Jeremy Swayman, whether directly or indirectly. And to show how pissed off they are is Nikita Zadorov saying that. I know he's not the best player on the team. I know you could probably call him a bit of a bust for a guy who's picked in the top 20 in the NHL draft 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and this is like his fifth or sixth different team. But one thing he is he's a pro. He's a pro's pro. Everyone talks about everywhere he goes, his leadership ability and the way that he carries himself on and off the ice. The guy's a pro. And when he's calling out Jeremy Swayman like that, it's pretty damning. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell to get notified every time we're going live, high noon Eastern time every weekday, and then wherever you get your podcasts.